our next group. Please make yourselves comfortable.
Thank you.
Come this way for me, Miss Shara. This way. If you take the seat next to Miss Shara. Miss Potts, you'd be in the middle for me. Miss Taylor, I know. Go for the same chairs again when recording.
Yeah. Do you want to come and sit this way? And it just means that they don't have to climb over you to get. Fantastic. So can I check names? Miss Jacoby, Miss Hall, Miss Taylor, Miss Potts,
Eaton. Shara.
You might not recognise us. I'm Miss Moran from the agency.
Hello, I'm Miss White.
And I was about to say Miss White. I'm Mrs. Durkin
And
from
this
the
is
agency.
Miss Alford. She's been welcomed to the school for recording purposes.
So before we start, can we just say thank you so much for putting in your applications and for taking so much time to make sure they were presented beautifully and for thinking through your answers really well. They were absolutely lovely. So thank you very much for all the hard work that you put into them. Right, are we ready? We're going to ask some questions and we'll take turns answering, okay? First of all, why should we employ you for the job that you've applied for?
Would anybody like to start us off, Poppy? Miss Hall?
At home, I'm organised in my bedroom and in the living room, and I like setting things into their correct places and tidying things, and I'm fairly artsy and crafty at home, so I'm good at setting all that stuff out and making sure it's neat and tidy, and I don't mind packing away stuff when they're finished with it.
Good skill to have, packing away, very important.
Yes.
I like tidying up and organising so that when you go into a room, it's really nice and tidy and organised. I like using my time to make sure others can use their time well.
I think that safe equipment is very important in tidiness, because otherwise people can trip and hurt themselves, and we don't really want that at school.
I would really like to help the other teachers, and I really like to organise things, so I would like to.
I like helping younger kids that are younger than me to encourage them to read, and I like helping the teachers with all of their jobs.
Some lunchtimes help Miss White with the poppies a lot, and I think I'm good at cutting out and tracing, and last year with my Titanic project with the model
We're very amazing.
one more thing.
Just let
I did most of the work, but I did need a tiny bit of help.
Okay. Peter, do you want to add to yours?
So we all used to be little kids. So because for the jobs I'm going for, which is the reception and the year one, we all knew what it was like to be that age. So we'll know what sort of things they'll like doing and how they like having their things organised.
That leads on quite nicely to our next question. So can you tell us about a time when you helped someone, so your own experience, and how did it make you feel? Isabel?
I have two younger second cousins. One's called Rosalita and the other's River. And we went to the beach once, and River tried to put sand in her mouth. And I told her not to, and I had to explain to her why. And then I got her to do it, and it made me feel good that I helped her.
Thank you.
I think it was a couple years ago at school. I think I might have been in year 1 or 2. I think reception, she likes, that green climbing frame. She climbed to the top of it and she couldn't get down, all these people crowding around her. And I did this silly thing, which was good, but a little bit silly. I told her if she jumped, I would catch her. And she jumped, I catched her. I fell backwards a bit, but I did catch her.
Thank you.
Isla.
So because I dance a lot and I mix with older and younger children, And usually the younger children like can't do the steps well when we have to pick it up like really quickly. So I went over to like help them, and they were really like they gave me a hug, and I was really happy for them.
Thank you. Poppy?
At my old school, we went on a what's it called, residential trip, and someone had climbed to the top of the climbing wall, a bit like Bethany, and she got really upset because she didn't realise quite how high she'd gone, and the teacher had to go up to help her down, and she came back down and was really upset because she was really embarrassed, and I was just like telling her I would have done exactly the same thing.
Once I was in a shop and there was this baby in, the stroller things, and I think the mum was just like shopping just like, I don't know, a few metres away, and like she bought some hangers and the hangers were on the edge of it and it fell off, so I just quickly popped it back on.
My cousin, that's younger than me, it was her first day back at school and she had homework, and I had to help her with it because it was, she lives in America, but I didn't really get it much, but I still helped her and I gave her some help.
Michelle, can I just come back to you? So you mentioned about the climbing frame incident and you said maybe it was a little bit silly. Is there anything now that you would do a little bit differently in that situation instead of asking her to jump back? What might you
Because
do?
I was that age, I know I could climb to the top myself. I would have climbed to the top instead and like slowly guided her back down.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's good to know.
Okay, I want you to take a minute to think about this one. What would you do if you had a problem whilst doing your job? So with the other group, we gave an example of maybe a child has been hurt, or maybe you're not sure how to do something, something's got broken, there's been a problem. What would you do?
I would either go find the nearest adult, and if I couldn't find any, then I would either try and find out the problem myself, or if I was buddied up with somebody else, I could stay with them while they look for a teacher.
So I'd probably first think, what should I do, and be a little bit independent. Or if something's broke and it was a safety hazard, I'd probably stay there and ask maybe someone else if we're in a group, because otherwise if a little child didn't see them, then they could hurt themselves on that first.
Louise?
Well, if somebody got hurt, I'd probably stay with them and calm them down, because even me, I need calming down when I get hurt. And then wait or ask the other person to go to the teacher and wait with them and see when the teacher comes.
If one of the, for instance, if one of the kids had been hurt, I'd check if it was a really bad injury, if she was bleeding or something, or if it was just a little scratch. If it was just a little scratch, then I'd tell them to go to the bathroom and wash it with some water. If it was bleeding, I'd go and try and find a teacher, and if I was buddied up, of course, ask them to watch the kid whilst I found a teacher, or the other way.
What I would do at first is make sure that me and my partner, if the teacher wasn't in the room, I would make sure that we're not frantic, because when you're hurt or when you're panicked about something, it is not helpful if the person helping you is being frantic. And then I find the nearest teacher, even if it wasn't the teacher for that class. And like Isabella said, make sure it's nothing too serious. And if it was let's say a glass had been tipped over and smashed, I would if it wasn't sharp, I'd make sure it was neat, in a pile, and make sure the kids didn't go near it. And if there was a teacher in the classroom, I would ask them for help. But if the teacher was outside or something, I'd wait till they came back into the classroom so that none of the kids touched it, unless we have another kid in the classroom with us, and then I'd get them to help.
If something was broken, there was like a big if it smashed all over the place, I would if they're big pieces, I could try to if there was something that I could sort of scoop it up with, I would, and after that I would try to get an adult, and I would offer to maybe pay for it if it was something quite big.
So if it was glass, would you scoop it up?
No, I think I would if there were kids in the room, I would tell them not to go there. But if they wouldn't really understand, I would wait until the teacher comes back and tell them.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next question is quite tricky. When you do your job, you might just be on your own with you and a partner, maybe no adults around. So the adults will be assuming that you're following the golden rules. Okay? This means you're in a position of trust, that we trust you. What do you think that means? What do you think that means? Isabella, do you want to start?
For the trust thing, if, say, the teacher left the room and they said, can you look after this kid whilst it's playing with scissors or something, you'd follow that and make sure the kid was safe until the teacher came back. Or if they said go do something for another teacher, you would, and not wander off.
First of all, if they do leave you instructions, as you said, take care of this specific kid or make sure no one messes about or gets too loud, you make sure you follow those rules and follow what they've asked you to do. But if they don't say anything and they just ask you to keep an eye on the kids, you just make sure you're not watching one kid who's your favourite kid in the class. You make sure everyone's safe.
It's very unlikely that you'd be on your own looking after children. In fact, that wouldn't happen because we wouldn't be able to. But you might be on your own with your Year 6 partner. So what does it mean about your behaviour?
Not messing around with the kids' toys.
Ina?
So if I was with a buddy and let's say it was my best friend, I wouldn't I wouldn't treat it like a playground. I wouldn't mess about or be silly, because that's not what we're employed to do.
If the teacher asked me to hold something, or would you stick this in or something, I would try to stick with them very neatly, and I would take care of if the object was fragile, and I'll make sure that no kids will come and topple it over, or hold it.
Eloise? Oh, sorry. Go on.
So if I'd have to be on my own or with a group, then I wouldn't play with the kids' toys, and if I was left alone with some people, I wouldn't just sit there and chat. I would get on with the task I was told to. If I had to organise something or mark someone's spellings, or if you'd have to hand out their books, I would go straight to it.
Well, first I wouldn't be silly, and if we were told to do something, I'd try and do it as best as possible, and won't destroy it, or don't crinkle it up, or don't, obviously.
Are there any questions that you'd like to ask us about the job roles or the process at all?
When will we be helping the teachers or going to the classrooms or whatever we get?
Well, I think it would be in your break times. It wouldn't be during lesson times, and I think it would be open to negotiation with your class, with the class teacher you're allocated to help, or the year group you're allocated to help, to find out when that teacher is available, when they might be able to use you. They might have particular days where they find it really helpful for another
We're not free on those days.
Well, that's also up for negotiation. So if you do lunchtime groups, then it's up to you to make sure that right away from the get-go you say, these are my lunchtimes where I have activities and I can't do those days. Megan, did you have a question, or was that the same?
Yeah, it was sort of the same. Poppy said if you were off, what would happen now? I was just going to say, what if you have a music lesson?
So again, that would be something that you would need to notify your line manager, whoever the adult is that is responsible for your job. You would need to let them know, hopefully a bit in advance, or you might pop it as you might pop a email to them, for example, to say my music lesson is today or my speech and drama lesson is today, so that you can let them know then. Okay.
Like, how many people would we be working in a group with?
At this moment, Isla, we're not sure. It depends on the outcome of the interview process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the last thing that we wanted to ask you is, obviously you've applied for a certain role, but it may be that we appoint someone else to that role. Would you be open to taking an alternative role, a different job, if it is available? Yeah? Lovely.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. So we're going to head back to the classroom now, and please can you make sure that you don't share any of those questions with the final candidate so they've got the same experience.
Thank you so much, and you all look very smart, and thank you for answering the questions so beautifully.
Appreciate the effort.
Yeah, you really do.